Professor Tay Park rubbed his tired eyes and looked at the clock. It was past midnight, but sleep felt like a distant memory. His office at Seoul Interstellar University was dark except for the blue glow of his computer screen. Papers covered. Every flat surface and empty coffee cups formed a small army on his desk. The message that had kept him awake stared back at him from the screen. Professor Park, we found something on Proxima B. Something impossible. I need you here. Sending scans now. Dr. Hana Kim had been his best student 5 years ago. Now she led her own research team on humanity's first permanent settlement outside the solar system. Tay opened the attached files and frowned. The 3D scan showed a perfect sphere about the size of a basketball. Strange lines covered its surface in patterns that reminded him of ancient writing, yet matched no known language. Computer, what is the estimated age of this object? Tay asked. Analysis indicates the artifact is approximately 53,400 years old, with a margin of error of 500 years, the computer replied. Tay sat up straight. That was impossible. Humans had only reached the stars a century ago. The most advanced alien species they had met, the Meret, had only been in space for about 15,000 years. This object predated any known spacefaring civilization by tens of thousands of years. His office door slid open. The sudden light made him squint. Still working? It's almost 1 a.m., said June Park, his younger brother. Despite the late hour, June wore the crisp blue uniform of the Earth Defense Forces. His captain's bars gleamed on his collar. Look at this, Tay said, turning the screen so June could see. Hana found it on Proxima B. June leaned closer, his face serious. A sphere. Looks old. Over 50,000 years old, and made of a metal we've never seen before. June's eyes narrowed. Has it done anything? Shown any signs of activity? The question seemed odd. No, it's just sitting there. Why? Jun hesitated, then sat down across from Tay. This conversation never happened, understand? What I'm about to tell you is classified. Tay nodded, suddenly, alert. This isn't the first ancient artifact we've found, June said quietly. Over the past decade, EDF ships have discovered similar objects on 7 different worlds. All different shapes, but with similar markings. All impossibly old. Why? Hasn't this been made public? Tay asked, shocked. Because 3 of them activated when we tried to study them. 2 released some kind of energy pulse that fried our equipment. The third... Jun paused. The third caused the research station to vanish. 87 people gone in an instant. Tay stared at his brother. Are you saying these things are weapons? We don't know what they are, that's the problem. Jun pointed at the screen. But I know that look in your eyes. You're going there, aren't you? Hana asked for my help. I can't say no. Jun sighed. I figured. That's why I came to warn you. Be careful, brother. Don't touch it with your bare hands. Don't let anyone else touch it either. I'll be careful, Tay promised. 3 weeks later, Tay stepped off the transport ship onto the surface of Proxima B. The sky above him was dark red, lit by the dim glow of Proxima Centauri, a small red dwarf star. The human settlement was a collection of white domes and tall towers, surrounded by farm domes where plants from Earth grew under artificial light. Hana waited for him at the airlock, her face breaking into a smile when she saw him. Her black hair was tied back in a practical ponytail, and her research uniform had seen better days. Professor Park? Thank you for coming all this way, she said, giving him a quick bow. Please, it's just Tay now. We're colleagues. He smiled back. Now where is this impossible artifact of yours? Hana led him through the settlement to a secure building on the outskirts. Inside, 3 other researchers waited for them in a lab filled with advanced scanning equipment. The sphere sat in the center of the room inside a clear containment field. This is the rest of my team, Hana said. Day is our engineer. Sue handles languages and symbols. And June is our security specialist. Day was a thin man who barely looked, up from his tablet to nod at Tay. Sue, a woman with short, practical hair, smiled warmly. June, tall and serious, studied Tay with military precision. Has it done anything since you found it? Tay asked, approaching the containment field. Nothing, Hannah said. It's completely inert. No energy readings, no radiation, nothing. The only unusual thing is the material itself. Our scans can't identify it, Day added, speaking quickly. It's not on the periodic table, and despite being over 50,000 years old, it shows no damage or wear. It's perfect. Tay circled the sphere slowly. The markings were even more fascinating in person. They seemed to shift slightly as he moved, catching the light in strange ways. Most of my colleagues think it's just a relic, Hannah said. A beautiful piece of art from a long-dead civilization. But you don't think so, Tay guessed. Hannah shook her head. There's something about it. I can't explain. That's why I called you. You've always had a knack for seeing what others miss. Tay took out his personal scanner and pointed it at the sphere. The readings matched what they had sent him, except for one thing. There's a very faint energy signature, he said, frowning at his device. Almost undetectable. What? Let me see. Day hurried over, checking his own instruments. Nothing shows on our equipment. I modified this scanner to detect quantum fluctuations, Tay explained. Something inside that sphere is active, just at an extremely low level. Like it's sleeping, Sue suggested. Or waiting, June said darkly. Tay remembered June's warning but pushed aside his concerns. I need to see it without the containment field. Hannah hesitated. Are you sure that's wise? No, Tay admitted. But if we want answers, we need to take some risks. After a brief argument, June finally agreed but insisted they all wear protective gear. Once suited up, Hannah entered the commands to lower the containment field. The air shimmered, and then nothing stood between them and the artifact. Tay approached slowly, scanner in hand. The energy readings grew slightly stronger. Fascinating, he whispered. It's responding to our presence. Don't touch it, June warned, echoing June's words from weeks ago. Tay nodded, but as he leaned closer to examine the markings, his scanner slipped from his hand. Without thinking, he reached out to catch it. His fingertips brushed the surface of the sphere. The room filled with blinding light. The sphere rose into the air, spinning slowly. The markings on its surface began to glow. With a blue-white fire, what did you do? Hannah gasped, backing away. Nothing. I barely touched it. Tay couldn't take his eyes off the floating sphere. The markings were rearranging themselves, flowing like liquid across the surface. A beam of light shot out from the sphere, scanning each of them one by one. When it reached Tay, it lingered, running up and down his body multiple times. Then a voice filled the room, not coming from the sphere, but somehow inside all their heads at once. Human genetic signature confirmed. Activation protocol initiated. Seed key online. The 5 humans stared in shock as the sphere continued to rise, pulsing with internal light. Holographic symbols appeared in the air around it, rotating slowly. Professor, Sue whispered, staring at the symbols. Some of these look like ancient Earth languages, but that's impossible. I thought it was just a relic, Day said, his voice shaking. Tay watched in wonder as the artifact continued its transformation. It's not a relic, he said quietly. It's waking up, and I think it's been waiting for us for a very long time. The floating sphere bathed the room in pulsing blue light. Tay and the others stood frozen, watching as more holographic symbols appeared around them. The sphere had transformed from a simple artifact into something alive with energy and purpose. Everyone stay calm, June said, his hand moving to the weapon at his side. Don't, Tay warned, putting his hand on June's arm. We don't know what it might do if it feels threatened. The sphere continued to spin slowly in the air, its surface now flowing with patterns of light. Then it spoke again, not with sound but directly into their minds. Communication protocols initializing. Language analysis complete. Adapting to local dialect. Sue moved closer to Tay. Professor, those symbols, I recognize elements from ancient Earth writing systems, Sumerian, Egyptian hieroglyphs, early Chinese characters, but mixed together in ways that make no sense. That's impossible, Hana said. How would an alien artifact know Earth languages from thousands of years ago? Before anyone could answer, the lab door burst open. 3 security officers rushed in with weapons drawn. "Step away from that thing," the lead officer shouted. "No, don't come closer," Tay yelled back, but it was too late. The sphere pulsed brightly. A wave of energy pushed outward, knocking the security team off their feet. Their weapons flew from their hands, disintegrating into dust before they hit the floor. Threat assessment complete. Defense systems online. No lethal force required. June helped the stunned officers to their feet while Day checked his tablet. "The energy signature just jumped 1,000 times stronger," Day said, his voice shaking. "And look, it's sending out some kind of signal." "Where?" Hana asked. "Into space. Deep space." The sphere lowered itself until it hovered at eye level with Tay. The symbols around it changed, forming patterns that somehow felt like questions. "I think it wants to communicate," Tay said softly, "but it needs to understand us better." He stepped forward despite June's warning gesture. "We are humans," he said clearly. "We come from Earth. We mean no harm." The sphere pulsed once, twice. Then the pattern shifted again. Identity confirmed. Human species. Third evolution sequence. Seed world Earth. The voice in their heads was becoming clearer, more natural. "This seed key has been waiting for 53,426 years for awakening." "Seed key?" Tay repeated. "What is a seed key?" "Access point. Network key. Legacy contact." The answers made little sense. Tay tried again. "Who made you? What is your purpose?" The sphere pulsed more intensely. "Created by the architect's purpose, preservation and advancement of consciousness across cosmic cycles." Sue was frantically taking notes. "Ask it who these architects were." Before Tay could speak, alarms began blaring throughout the settlement. The colony's emergency system activated, and a voice announced over speakers, "Attention all personnel. Unidentified vessels have entered the system. Defense Protocol Alpha initiated. This is not a drill. Repeat, this is not a drill." June's communicator buzzed. After a brief conversation, his face went pale. 7 ships just appeared at the edge of the system, he reported. "They're not responding to hails and are moving fast toward Proxima B." "Is it the Maret?" Hana asked, referring to the friendly alien species humans had established relations with. June shook his head. "The design doesn't match anything in our database." The sphere suddenly dimmed, its spinning motion slowing. "Signal detected. Voran presence confirmed. Warning, seed key security compromised." Tay looked at the sphere with new urgency. "Who are the Voran? Are they coming for you?" "Voran failed evolution path. Aggressive expansion. Seek all seed keys. Must not obtain access to the network." Outside the lab windows, they could see people running through the settlement streets. Emergency lights flashed red across the buildings. "We need to secure the artifact," June said. "If these aliens are coming for it, we can't let them take it." "And how do we stop 7 alien ships?" Day asked, his voice rising with panic. The sphere suddenly moved, flying directly to Tay and hovering before him. "Primary contact established. Tay Park genetic profile suitable for interface." Without warning, a thin beam of light shot from the sphere into Tay's forehead. He gasped and staggered backward. Images flooded his mind. Stars and planets, vast structures floating in space, beings of light and energy. "Professor Park." Hana grabbed his arm, steadying him. "Are you okay?" Tay blinked, trying to clear his vision. I'm fine, but I saw. I don't know what I saw. It was like seeing the history of the galaxy in seconds." "The Voran ships will reach orbit in 15 minutes, June reported, checking his communicator again. As if on cue, the large screen on the lab wall activated by itself. A face appeared, at least it seemed like a face. It had 4 eyes arranged in a diamond pattern, gray-green skin that looked almost metallic, and no visible mouth. When it spoke, the bottom of its face vibrated slightly. Humans of Proxima B. We are the Voron Collective. Our sensors detect a seed key activation in your settlement. Surrender the seed key immediately, and we will leave your colony intact. June stepped forward. This is Security Chief June of the Proxima B human settlement. We are a peaceful research outpost. We don't know what you're referring to. The alien's 4 eyes blinked in sequence. Deception is pointless. The seed key's activation signal was detected across 3 star systems. You have 10 minutes to prepare it for transfer, or we will take it by force. The screen went dark. 10 minutes, Day whispered. What do we do? Tay looked at the sphere still hovering near him. Can you help us? Can you protect yourself from these Voron? Defensive capabilities limited without full network access. The Voron must not obtain this seed key. If capture is imminent, self-destruct protocols will activate. Self-destruct? Hana repeated with alarm. How powerful would that be? Planetary surface sterilization within 300-kilometer radius. Everyone fell silent, the implications clear. If the Voron took the sphere, it would destroy itself and take the entire human settlement with it. There must be another option, Tay insisted. The sphere pulsed softly. Alternative, full interface with genetically compatible host. Temporary bond allows limited access to architect knowledge and defensive systems. It wants to bond with you, Sue said to Tay, because of your genetic profile. Tay hesitated, remembering his brother's warning about these artifacts. 3 research stations had experienced disasters when studying similar objects. One had completely vanished. What exactly would this bond involve, he asked the sphere. Temporary neural interface. Connection to the architect network through this seed key. Access to knowledge limited by host brain capacity. Is it safe? Hana asked. Unknown. No human has attempted interface before. Theoretical compatibility exists, but risks are significant. Outside, they could hear more alarms. The colony's few defensive ships were being scrambled, though they would be no match for 7 alien vessels. Tay looked at his colleagues, then back at the sphere. If I don't do this, what happens? Voron will attack. They will obtain the seed key or trigger self-destruct. Either outcome. Human settlement destroyed. The room fell silent again. Tay took a deep breath. Then I don't have a choice, do I? He stepped toward the sphere. What do I need to do? Extend your hands. Embrace the seed key. Accept the connection. Tay raised his hands on either side of the floating sphere. He looked at Hana one last time. If this goes wrong, tell my brother he was right to warn me. Then he closed his hands around the sphere. Light erupted from between his fingers, so bright that everyone else had to shield their eyes. Tay's body went rigid, his eyes wide and glowing with the same blue energy as the sphere. When he spoke again, his voice was different, deeper, layered with harmonics that seemed to echo across time itself. Connection established. We are ready to face the Voron. Light poured from Tay's eyes and mouth. His feet lifted off the ground and he hovered in the air. The sphere had disappeared, seemingly absorbed into his body. Blue lines of energy moved under his skin, following the same patterns that had covered the artifact. Hana stepped forward cautiously. Tay, can you hear me? Are you still... you? Tay's head turned toward her. His expression was strange, both familiar and alien at the same time. When he spoke, his voice echoed with power. I am still Tay Park, but I also have access to the seed keys. Knowledge now. He looked at his hands glowing with blue light. There is so much information. Too much for a human mind to fully understand. Day checked his instruments. The energy readings are off the charts. Whatever is happening to him, it's unlike anything we've ever seen. Can you help us against the Voron? June asked, always focused on the immediate threat. Tay nodded slowly. I think so. The seed key has defensive capabilities I can access, but first I need to show you what I've learned. He raised his hands and the air between them shimmered. A holographic display appeared in the center of the room, a perfect model of the Milky Way galaxy. As they watched, certain stars began to glow blue. These are the seed worlds, Tay explained. Planets where the architects placed their experiments. Experiments? Sue asked, moving closer to the display. Life. Intelligent life. Tay pointed, and the image zoomed in on one particular star, the sun. Earth appeared, glowing brightly. We were not an accident. We were created. Designed. The room fell silent as the implications sank in. Are you saying aliens made humans? Hannah finally asked. Not exactly. The architects found early primates on Earth and accelerated their evolution. They guided our development, but did not create us from nothing. Tay waved his hand, and the display changed to show early humans. They visited Earth many times over thousands of years, making small adjustments to our DNA. But why? Day asked. What was the purpose? The architects were dying out. Their civilization was millions of years old, but they faced a threat they could not overcome, the gradual collapse of reality itself. Tay's voice grew sad. They could not save themselves, so they seeded the galaxy with new life forms, each with different mental and physical capabilities. The display shifted again, showing dozens of different alien species. Each experiment was designed with unique traits. Some were physically powerful. Others had advanced mental abilities. Some, like the Vorin, developed extreme technological skill but lacked empathy. And us? Sue asked. What was special about humans? Tay smiled slightly. Our adaptability, our creativity, our ability to cooperate across vast distances and numbers, and something else the architects valued highly, our capacity for compassion. An alarm blared, interrupting the moment. June checked his communicator. The Vorin ships have entered orbit. They're launching smaller craft toward the surface. Tay's expression hardened. We don't have much time. He turned to the others. The Vorin were another experiment, seated on a world 200 light-years from Earth. But they discovered their origins centuries ago when they found their own seed key. So they know all this already? Hannah asked. Yes, but they rejected their purpose. They believe the architect's technology belongs to them by right of inheritance. They've been hunting down seed keys across the galaxy, trying to unlock the location of the architect's home system. Why? What's there? June asked. Technology beyond imagination. The architects built devices that could reshape planets, create artificial stars, even manipulate time itself. The Vorin want that power for themselves. The building shook as something exploded outside. Through the windows they could see smaller alien ships entering the atmosphere, heading straight for the settlement. We're out of time for history lessons, June said. What can you do to stop them? Tay closed his eyes. The blue lines under his skin pulsed faster. The seed key can access dormant systems beneath the surface of Proxima b. The architects left defenses here, just as they did on all seed worlds. He raised his hands, and the floor beneath them trembled. Deep underground, ancient machinery awakened. Miles away, hidden chambers opened as defense systems powered up for the first time in 50,000 years. Take me outside, Tay said. I need to see the sky. They rushed through the building and into the settlement's central plaza. Other colonists stared in shock at Tay's glowing form. Above them, the Vorin ships descended, sleek metallic craft shaped like arrowheads. Tay raised his arms toward the sky. Beams of blue light shot from his hands, connecting with something invisible high. Above them, the air rippled and suddenly a massive structure appeared in orbit around Proxima b, a ring of ancient technology that had been hidden, dormant for millennia. The ring began to glow, sections lighting up one after another until the entire structure shined like a second sun. The Vorin ships tried to pull away, but it was too late. Beams of energy lanced out from the ring, striking each ship. Instead of destroying them, the beams seemed to freeze them in place. What's happening? Hannah asked, shielding her eyes from the brightness overhead. I've activated the containment field, Tay said. It won't harm them, but they can't move or fire their weapons. The large screen in the plaza activated, showing the same four-eyed alien face they had seen earlier. What have you done? The Vorin demanded. Release our ships immediately. We will not surrender the seed key, Tay replied, his voice resonating with power. Leave this system in peace. Impossible. The seed keys are our birthright. We are the true heirs of the architects. Tay shook his head. The architects had no single heir. All their creations were meant to work together, not fight each other. Each species has different strengths that, when combined, might solve the problems the architects could not. Lies. The architects chose us for our superior intelligence and technological skill. They chose you for your logical thinking and engineering abilities, Tay corrected. But they did not intend for you to conquer. The architects valued cooperation above all else. The Voron's 4 eyes blinked rapidly in what seemed like anger. We will not leave without the seed key. If you do not surrender it, we will destroy your entire settlement. You are in no position to make threats, Tay said calmly. But I will show you something the architects wanted all their creations to see. He raised his hand again, and the holographic display that had appeared in the lab now expanded across the sky. Everyone, humans in the settlement and Voron in their ships, could see it. The display showed the truth. Dozens of different species across the galaxy, all part of the architect's grand experiment. It showed the coming cosmic threat, reality, itself beginning to unravel at the edges of the universe. And it showed the architect's hope that together their created children might find solutions they could not. This is why we exist, Tay said, his voice reaching everyone. Not to fight over the architect's legacy, but to fulfill it, together. The Voron was silent for a long moment. Then the alien spoke again, its tone different, almost uncertain. If what you show is true, there are implications we must consider. We request time to verify this information. The defense system will release your ships, Tay said, but do not attempt to attack again. The seed key has shown me only a fraction of its defensive capabilities. The screen went dark. Above them, the energy beams holding the Voron ships disappeared. The ship slowly retreated to a higher orbit. Tay lowered his arms, suddenly looking exhausted. The blue glow around him dimmed slightly. What happens now? Hana asked, supporting him as he swayed on his feet. Now, Tay said, his voice more normal, more human. We prepare. The Voron will not give up so easily, and there is still much more the seed key needs to show us about who we really are. 3 days passed since the confrontation with the Voron. Their ships remained in high orbit around Proxima b, silent and watching. The human settlement was on high alert, with defense systems ready and evacuation ships prepared to launch at a moment's notice. Tay sat in a special room the colony had built for him. Medical equipment surrounded his bed, monitoring his vital signs. The blue energy pattern still moved under his skin, though fainter now. He looked tired, with dark circles under his eyes. Hana entered carrying a tablet. How are you feeling today? Strange, Tay replied. His voice was normal now, no longer echoing with power. It's like having 2 minds in one body. My thoughts and the seed key's information constantly mixing together. Can you still access the defensive systems? She asked. Tay nodded. Yes. The ring in orbit is fully operational. If the Voron attack again, I can stop them. Good, because our sensors show they've called for reinforcements. 3 more of their ships entered the system yesterday. Tay sighed and closed his eyes. They're afraid. The Voron have built their entire civilization around finding the architect's technology. Learning that they were just one experiment among many has shaken their belief system. Are you getting all this from the seed key? Hana asked, pulling up a chair beside his bed. Yes. It contains records of all the architect's experiments. The Voron were designed to be logical, precise, and technologically minded. They excel at engineering and mathematics. But the architects made a mistake with them. What mistake? They focused too much on intelligence and not enough on emotional development. Tay opened his eyes. The Voron have trouble understanding concepts like cooperation and empathy. They see the universe as a competition where only the strongest deserve to survive. The door opened, and Sue entered with Day behind her. They both looked excited. Professor Park, we've been studying the data you shared, Sue said. The language, patterns, the symbols, they're incredible. Some of them match ancient carvings found on Earth that archaeologists could never translate. And the technology descriptions, Day added. If we could understand even a fraction of what the architects built. Be careful, Tay warned. That kind of thinking is what corrupted the Vorin. The architect's technology isn't meant to be used by any single species. A sudden alarm blared through the settlement. June's voice came over the communication system. All personnel to alert stations. Vorin ships are moving. Repeat, Vorin ships are moving. Tay tried to stand but stumbled. Hana caught him. You're still weak, she said. I need to get outside, he insisted. Take me to the plaza. They helped him through the corridors. Colonists rushed past them, hurrying to their emergency positions. When they reached the central plaza, they looked up to see the Vorin ships descending once more numerous than before. Why isn't the defense ring stopping them? Day asked, pointing to the sky where the ancient orbital structure was visible, as a faint circle around the planet. Because I haven't activated it yet, Tai said. He straightened up, pulling away from Hana's support. I want to give them a chance to talk first. The large screen in the plaza activated again. This time, a different Vorin appeared, older with darker skin and all four eyes a deep purple color. Humans of Proxima B. I am High Commander Vex of the Vorin Collective. Your display of architect technology has forced us to reconsider our approach. That sounds promising, Sue whispered. However, the High Commander continued. Our conclusion remains the same. The seed key must be surrendered to us. We have studied the information you shared, and we believe you have misinterpreted its meaning. How so? Tay asked, stepping forward. The architects clearly favored technological advancement above all else. The Vorin have achieved the highest level of technology among all the seed species. Therefore, we are the logical inheritors of their legacy. Your interpretation of cooperation is simply a justification for your species' weakness. Tay shook his head. You still don't understand. The architects valued diversity of thought and approach. No single species can solve the coming crisis alone. A theory we reject, the High Commander said flatly. We have 10 ships surrounding your settlement. Your defenses are impressive, but they cannot stop all of us. Surrender the seed key, or we will destroy your colony and take it from the ruins. The screen went dark. Around the plaza, humans looked at each other with fear. Can you stop 10 ships? Hana asked quietly. Tay didn't answer immediately. His face showed strain as he accessed the seed key's knowledge. The defense system was designed to contain, not destroy. I'm not sure it can handle so many targets at once. Then what do we do? Day asked, his voice rising with panic. Tay closed his eyes. The blue patterns under his skin began to glow brighter. There's another option. The seed key can fully activate. Not just the defensive systems, but everything the architects left on this planet. What does that mean? Hana asked. I don't know exactly. The knowledge is there, but it's hazy, like looking through fog, but I think... Tay suddenly gasped in pain, doubling over. Tay! Hana grabbed him as he fell to his knees. What's happening? The connection is growing stronger, he said through gritted teeth. The seed key is trying to show me something important. Above them, the Vorin ships moved into attack formation. The first shots fired struck the settlement's outer buildings, sending shockwaves across the ground. They're attacking. Someone shouted. People began running for shelter. We're out of time, June said, drawing his weapon. Professor Park, whatever you're going to do it now. Tay straightened up with effort. Blood trickled from his nose, but his eyes burned with blue fire. Stand back, all of you. His friends backed away as the energy patterns on his skin blazed like sunlight. Tay raised his arms to the sky and spoke in a language none of them recognized. Ancient, powerful words that seemed to shake the air itself. The ground beneath the settlement began to tremble. Not like an earthquake, more like massive machinery awakening far below. Across Proxima B, hidden chambers that had lain dormant for 50,000 years suddenly opened. Ancient systems powered up, connecting to the seed key through Tai. In orbit, the defense ring blazed to full power, its light rivaling the dim red sun. But instead of firing at the Voran ships, it projected a vast field of energy that enveloped the entire planet. Inside this shield, something incredible happened. The barren surface of Proxima b began to change. Patches of ground shifted and reformed. Structures rose from beneath the soil, towers of crystal and metal, domes of unknown materials, paths that glowed with inner light. "What's happening?" "So," whispered in awe. "The planet is transforming," Hana said. "It's like it's waking up." Tay stood at the center of it all, his body now almost too bright to look at directly. When he spoke, his voice carried across the entire settlement. "This is what the architects intended. Proxima b was never just a planet. It's a hub, a nexus point in their network, and now it's fully active for the first time in 50,000 years. The Voran ships froze in place, caught by the defense systems." On the plaza screen, the High Commander's face appeared again, all four eyes wide with shock. "What have you done?" he demanded. "The energy readings, they're beyond anything in our records." Tay looked up at the screen, his eyes still glowing with blue fire. "I've awakened what the architects left for all of us. Not just defenses, but knowledge. Solutions. The beginning of an answer to the cosmic threat they feared." He raised one hand, and a beam of light shot from it into the sky, connecting with the orbital ring. The ring pulsed and sent similar beams to each of the Voran ships. "What are you doing to our vessels?" the High Commander asked, now showing the first signs of fear. "Showing you the truth," Tay replied. "Not just the fragments you found, but everything. The complete record of why the architects created us all, and what they hoped we would accomplish, together." As the information flowed into the Voran ships, Tay turned to his friends. His expression was both triumphant and sad. "This is only the beginning," he said quietly. "The seed key has shown me what comes next, and it will change everything. We thought we knew about our place in the universe." The sun rose on a changed world. Where once Proxima b had been a mostly barren planet with a small human settlement, it now displayed a landscape transformed. Crystal towers reached toward the sky. Gardens bloomed with plants never before seen by human eyes. Paths of light connected structures that seemed to be made of living metal. In the center of it all stood the human settlement, now surrounded by architect technology that had lain dormant for 50,000 years. Tay stood at the edge of a newly formed lake, staring at his reflection. The blue energy patterns still moved under his skin, but had settled into a stable network of lines. His eyes had changed too. They now had flecks of blue light that swirled around his pupils. "Are you feeling better today?" Hana asked, joining him by the water. "Yes," Tay said. "The connection has stabilized. I don't feel like I'm being torn apart anymore." "That's good to hear." She hesitated. "The Voran ships are still in orbit. They haven't attacked again, but they haven't left either. They're confused, afraid. The information I sent them contradicts everything they've believed for centuries." Sue approached, carrying a tablet. "Professor Park, we've been exploring some of the new structures. The technology is beyond anything we could have imagined. There are rooms that seem to contain star maps of the entire galaxy, libraries with knowledge stored in crystal form, and defense systems," June added, joining them. "Weapons that could destroy planets if we understood how to use them." Tay frowned. "That's not what this place is for. The architects didn't leave weapons. They left tools for creation, for healing." "Tell that to the Voran," June said grimly. "Their reinforcements have arrived. We now count 20 ships in orbit. The only thing keeping them from attacking is the defense shield." Tay looked up at the sky. Through the shimmering energy shield, he could just make out the shapes of the Voran vessels. "They still don't understand. Even with the full truth, they can't accept it." "Can their ships break through the shield?" Hana asked. "Not yet, but they're studying it, looking for weaknesses." Tay turned to his friends. "We need to try one more time to make them understand. Not just with information, but with action." "What do you mean?" Sue asked. "Follow me." Tay led them to one of the new architect's structures, a dome of silvery material that seemed to shift and flow like liquid. Inside, a large circular platform dominated the center of the room. Strange symbols covered the walls, glowing with soft blue light. "This is a communication hub," Tay explained. "It can connect to any seed key in the galaxy." "There are more?" Hana asked in surprise. "Many more, on dozens of worlds across the galaxy, each one waiting for its species to reach the right level of development." Tay stepped onto the platform. "It's time to show the Vorin that humans are willing to do what they won't, share knowledge rather than hoard it." The platform began to glow as Tay raised his hands. The symbols on the wall spun faster, brightening until the whole room pulsed with energy. "What are you doing?" June asked, shielding his eyes from the light. "Calling the others. All the seed species who have found their seed keys. Showing them what's happening here." Tay's voice once again took on that deeper, resonant quality. "The architects meant for us to work together. It's time we started." The air above the platform shimmered, and suddenly images appeared. Alien faces and forms, some vaguely humanoid, others completely foreign. 7 different species, all watching with expressions of shock or wonder. "Greetings," Tay said to them. "I am Tay Park of Earth. Our world was seeded by the architects, as were all of yours. We have activated our seed key, and now face a choice: to use this knowledge for our species alone, or to share it as the architects intended." The aliens responded in their own languages, but somehow everyone could understand them. "The Vorin have hunted our seed key for generations," said a being with 4 arms and skin like polished amber. "They destroyed our colony when we refused to surrender our knowledge," added another, whose body seemed to be made of living crystal. "And now they surround your world," observed a third, small and delicate with wings that shimmered like rainbows. "Will you fight them?" "No," Tay said firmly. "We will not fight. We will show them a better way." He turned to his friends. "Each of you stand on the platform with me. Show them that humans work together, that we share knowledge and responsibility." Hesitantly, Hana, Sue, June, and Day joined him on the platform. As they did, the energy in the room intensified. The blue patterns on Tay's skin began to spread, touching each of his friends with tendrils of light. "What's happening?" Day asked nervously. "The seed key is connecting with all of us," Tay explained. "Not a full bond like mine, but enough to show both the Vorin and these other species what humans are capable of." Above them, the images of the 7 alien species watched intently. Outside, the defense shield around Proxima B pulsed with new energy. In orbit, the Vorin ships detected the change and began to move. "They're preparing to attack," June warned. "No," Tay said calmly. "They're preparing to witness." He raised his hands again, and suddenly the knowledge flowed not just from him, but from all 5 humans on the platform. The combined wisdom of their species, their history, their art, their science, their philosophy, streamed outward through the seed key's connection. But more than just information, they shared what made humans unique: their capacity for empathy, their willingness to sacrifice, for others their ability to see beauty in diversity, the hopes and dreams that drove them to the stars not for conquest but for discovery. The shield around Proxima B changed color, from blue to gold. Instead of merely defending, it now reached out, touching each Vorin ship with tendrils of light, similar to those connecting the humans on the platform. On the largest Vorin vessel, High Commander Vex watched in disbelief as the golden energy entered his ship, not as a weapon but as an invitation. "Impossible," he whispered. "They have the power to destroy us, yet they offer connection." The communication screen in his ship activated, showing Tay and his friends on the platform. "You sought the architects' legacy as a weapon," Tay said to him. "But that was never their purpose. They faced extinction not because they were weak, but because they were alone. They created us all so that together, we might succeed where they failed." "Why should we trust you?" the High Commander asked. "How do we know this isn't a trap?" "Because we could have destroyed your ships when you first attacked. We didn't. We could have refused to share what we've learned. We didn't." Tay gestured to his friends. This is what humans do. We reach out, even to those who have threatened us. We offer second chances. The golden energy continued to flow between the planet and the ships. Other Vorin appeared behind their commander, their 4 eyes wide with wonder as new understanding filled their minds. The cosmic threat the architects feared, one of them said. It's real. It's coming. And no single species can stop it alone, Tay agreed. Not humans, not Vorin, not any of us. But together, we have a chance. For a long moment, silence filled the communication channel. Then slowly, High Commander Vex bowed his head. Perhaps. We have been wrong, he said, the words clearly difficult for him. This is not what we expected to find. The universe rarely is. Tay replied with a small smile. Will you join us? Not as conquerors or conquered, but as equals. The High Commander looked at his officers, then back at the screen. We will try. As the Vorin ships powered down their weapons, the 7 other species watching from their distant worlds began to speak all at once, offering their own knowledge, their own unique perspectives. In the golden light of the Seed Key's power, Tay looked at his friends and smiled. This is just the beginning, he said softly. The true legacy of the architects isn't their technology. It's us. All of us working together. Outside, the transformed landscape of Proxima b seemed to pulse with new life, as if the planet itself approved. What had once been thought a simple relic had awakened not just ancient machines, but something far more powerful. Hope for the future of all intelligent life in the galaxy. And humanity, with its unique blend of compassion and determination, would help lead the way.